Three, two, one. Hi there, I'm Danny Henderson. Welcome back to my Full Disclosure channel. On the screen with me are two great legends of disclosure. They have earned their stripes, their medals. They don't need any of those. They've earned the respect of many in the field of disclosure due to their evidence, physical evidence, and proof that they've bought. They've both been off planet several times. They are absolutely incredible people. We're going to get into some back information that I think it's exceptionally important to bring up right now at this time in 2025, at the end of August in 2025. Our friend JP, the Army Insider, who's been to the moon on a American military craft, reverse engineered craft, is not here. We're hoping he's going to jump in because I also have some stuff I want him to recap with all you beautiful people out there. But for now, we will come to Elena Danan. Hi, Elena, how you doing?
I'm great, Danny. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. We'll come back to you again in a second. And to dear Tony Rodrigues, how are you, my darling?
Hi, Danny. I'm great. I can't complain. I'm putting one foot in front of the other every day, and it's been an adventure. It's really been amazing. The last few years, ever since you started GSIC, it kind of introduced me with people, and what I learned and what I've shared, I meshed together, and my whole life changed. And it's been one foot in front of the other, and I'm amazed at the progress personally. Also, man, there was a point I was going to say, but I'm just saying I can't complain. I'm very happy with where I'm at these days.
So wonderful. We're so glad you are and reporting on what you're reporting. So I'll come back to you shortly. Now, Elena Danan. There is a big object in outer space currently. It's called the Three-Eye Atlas. There's been called other things too. There are people hypothesizing and postulating and making sure that they're the ones that bring the information. But so far, really, we haven't had a very good description, in my opinion. I've seen several people trying to, is it an Anunnaki ship? Is it from the planet Nibiru that doesn't exist in our solar system? But you know how people, they hear stories just like we all have, and they believe narratives that are manipulated by other people. That's been happening for millennia. It's not new, is it really? But Elena Danan, a emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds, could you please tell us and the beautiful audience exactly what this is? And take your time, my love.
Thank you, Danny. Yes, we have been hearing all sorts of speculations. I've even heard that Jedis were riding it. So, it gives way to all type of imagination. Jedis riding a space rock. A good title for comics. Anyways, um, what I know of this interstellar object is what was first shown to me by my contact in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, Thoran Eredion, who was on board the scout ship and showed to me uh, 3i Atlas as it was, really up close. And he explained to me in the same time what it was doing. I published a video live on TikTok on August 9, just fresh, and everybody could really discover with me. A 3i Atlas, it's a third interstellar object discovered by a telescope's name is Atlas. That's where the name comes from. It is um, three times bigger, even I think it's more than three times bigger than Oumuamua. It is oblong. It is a spaceship. It is not just a space rock. It is not a comet. It is a spaceship that is very long, non-inhabited. There's no crew in it. There's nobody in it, but it is inhabited by a plasmic consciousness. So the first thing when you approach it, you see this haze and you wonder why, because it's not a comet, it's not made of ice, so it shouldn't melt approaching a star. But this haze is a holographic shield that you think it's a comet or you can see at first. It's kind of a rock with a haze around it. We need to think that this object is millions, hundreds of millions of years older than anything that exists in this star system, the solar system. So the technology it uses has nothing to do with the holographic shields of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, for instance, who are very strict. This one you can kind of manage to see through it if you have the ways to do it. This is alive. The space rock is the body inhabited by a plasmic consciousness. So it has little windows all along. It is a ship, but the engine, the fuel, and the I'd say the drive of the ship is this plasmic consciousness. What is a plasmic consciousness? It's an extraterrestrial entity that lives off plasma. The consciousness is embedded into plasma, which is a polarized gas or polarized um, atoms that are grouped together to make kind of a uniform shape, you know. So these consciousnesses are very ancient. They don't live out of linear time. And I can direct you towards Pitholem,
Yes.
who's a friend of David A. Adair. And I'm going to go through the story. It has nothing to do with Pitholem. It's not her soul group. It's different, but it's this type of being. So they are called explorers. They are called the explorers, and they go from even galaxies to galaxies, and they gather data or on all the places they go. And they are here into this star system. He is here, this one. Oumuamua was the same thing. He's here to study us, study all the planets. He's welcome by the people who protect our star system, the Intergalactic Confederation, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Andromedan Council. They're all welcoming him because he's very peaceful, harmless, and he is very wise, ancient being, and everybody can really gain to communicate with this being. And I also encouraged my audience to try to communicate in consciousness with it, because it's quite easy. They are very curious, these beings, so you can make easily a contact. So it's just using the propulsion of the gravitational fields of the stars. So it has a very calculated trajectory. It's going to approach the star and accelerate into its gravity field and bounce to another direction. That's how they do. And they also feed from the free energy that is generated from the ether around the stars, because the stars send radiate gravity waves that excite the particles of the ether. It creates frill, and they feed from it. So that's all the reasons why this being is here. So there's so many speculations, even, the deep state is trying to tell us, oh, it's alien invasion, fear. No, not at all. It's a very wise being. So that's the information I have about it.
I love it. It's so beautiful. I want to stick with this for a moment because a couple of things right before we hit record, we were hanging out, we were catching up with each other, and you two started getting so excited about Tony's remote viewing class. Tony, please, can you tell us what you were getting so excited about, you and Elena? Are you on mute, my love?
It was nice that there was some overlap. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Um, I posed this three eye atlas last week in front of the groups and got a bunch of overlap. It's an unconfirmable target in remote viewing terms. It's an unconfirmable target. We can't just look it up on the internet. And I started to kind of have a bad taste in my mouth from all of the horrible information I was seeing on the internet about it and on social media. So people, like you said, people are coming out. It's an alien. It may be an alien invasion. It may be a rock too. You can't just they present it as if it's a fact. And then other people that are actually credible sources in the disclosure community are echoing kind of false stuff about it, or things that are unbelievable, put it that way. Like I don't believe that they're going to have a close-up picture of a secret space program close up posted on Facebook. That doesn't make any sense. It's obvious that that can't be true. And people are parodying it. So anyhow, we did it I put it toward the groups. And we got overlap that it was an abandoned or at least an empty spacecraft, more of a spacecraft that we got gray, we got ancient Egyptian or Stonehenge era looking structures put on it. And we got a lot of overlap was a orange engine, an orange plasmic ball of an orange energy or an engine that had, and they were seeing people there, but not people. So a consciousness, non a biological entity, a non-biological entity that is there. So that came through a lot, and they said it seems like it has roads and things in there. It's a big thing that has roads and buildings that are abandoned. That it was an underground, like a base, and it was abandoned. And we got the same thing over and over again, overlap. I really stress this to the remote viewing community. I'm in a lot of groups, and a lot of people are claiming to remote view without double blind protocol and without any overlap. So one session and a big long story, just because it's a very long story come out of one session, is probably not accurate. And it's very important to check your work, to have double blind protocols, and to check your work against other viewers several times. And we do it 15, 20 times. So when I see a orange plasmic engine come up 5 times out of 20 on a random target, on a double blind, completely random target, then I start to really believe it. And I screen shared it and showed this. I'm going to show this. I think I have sharing.
Yeah, yeah, you
I
do.
Please share
think
it.
I have sharing. So this is from one of the viewers named Ed, and he's very, very consistent. And this is a simple sketch page. This is a quickie. And but the thing is, when you get, like I said, when you get many of these that pile up, when you get many of these things that pile up and overlap, he got a plasmic orange energy looking, smooth white craft, no joints with propulsion, a large pyramidal structure, and then this structure kept coming. This particular structure came out, I think in another one here, we started to see, and this was again, anti-gravity was it associated with this pyramidal structure with a spiraling energy vortex around it. So that's how it was described by these people. And here you can say he wrote it down. And as far as he's concerned, this is a set of coordinates that has set of coordinates is completely random that could be a chicken egg or a pop can or the Statue of Liberty or a planet or anything. And when we start to see these things come out of the protocols, it was exciting. It was kind of exciting, because it's called 3I because it's only the third one they've discovered since they've had telescopes going.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's a significant phenomenon that we're seeing happen in recent years.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Again, if we just kind of to differentiate between a remote viewer, but blind is where you have a group of people and they have no idea what the target is. That's the whole point. Then you're truly remote viewing. Whereas a reading the energy of something, ejecting your energy out there to read, which is something everyone can do. It's a lot easier than actual remote viewing. But it's similar, but not the same. So people are taking a reading I don't want everyone to feel so silly about, getting it all so wrong. Now, Elena, you mentioned the beautiful David Adair, a friend of all of ours here. And David Adair spoke at my last conference in America in September 27, GSIC, Galactic Spiritual Informers. David Adair is a legend. One of his nicknames is Rocket Man. He was building rockets at 17 years old that embarrassed NASA, and NASA wanted to hire him. They wanted to take his rocket that he made so beautifully, and they wanted to put payload on it and drop bombs, and David Adair wouldn't allow it and blew up the rocket. He's an amazing man. When he was down in sorry, I've got so many texts coming in from our beautiful Praveen Mohan, who I've been messaging with, who's also speaking this year. But anyway, I digress. So David Adair, Elena, actually, do you want to tell the story? Because it's so important. You mentioned Pithalam, the consciousness. Do you want to tell the story of David Adair and how he came to meet the Pithalam?
David Adair was young due to certain circumstances, explains very well. He was in Area 51. He found himself in a hangar where there was a retrieved craft. And in this craft, when he stepped in, there was this plasmic consciousness that uh, enter in contact with him and befriended him and decided to attach to him and follow him and leave the ship and attach to him. And this consciousness names Pithalem, and she has been following him all his life through to this day. And I had the opportunity to meet her because we were in the green room in Denver, Colorado at the JC conference, and I found myself just chatting on my own with David, and suddenly I felt this huge, massive presence and this blue indigo light just on the side of him, but that was just a part of something enormous. And I said, wow. And I described it to him, and he said, that's her, that's her. She's showing herself to you. And I went, that was such an honor. I had never met such beings in my adventures. It was my first uh, plasmic being. So it's lovely. And Peter Lam had said to David there years and years ago, decades ago probably, that she was living out of linear time. And she described exactly what she was, and that her family was on the way and would come back soon into our star system. And uh, the seeders arrived, and among them there was Pithalem's kind. So that was so beautiful, so beautiful.
It's so exciting when we're all putting information out there and it all dovetails together and it's all proved in different ways. That's why, we're the best at what we do, and it's just so beyond exciting. And with Darling Pithalum, who came in a craft that crashed, David Adair was there at the right moment, but he also believed that this was a past contract,
Yeah.
a soul agreement with this being, and she entered his body and to this moment lives with him. Now, Pithalum is only in touch with David Adair. Her contract
Yes.
is between him. Her soul agreement is with him. Although we've seen lots of grifters making up stories, selling crystal balls and lying and saying that Pithalem's frequency is in the balls. It's absolutely disgusting. And I have spoken to David Adair directly, and he has told me directly and others that this is not with his agreement. So, I mean, grift on something else rather than this beautiful man and this being that he's sharing space with. Now, some people would call that a walk-in. And it's so interesting because this craft that crashed that Pithalum inhabited, this is how she got here to the planet. It was a plan. And like you said, David's told us countless times that her parents are coming, And so I did, when I first heard about the Three-Eye Atlas, I thought, oh my gosh, that's Pithalum's mum and dad.
No,
But as you confirmed, it's not.
they're already here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Again, I love it when we can actually again bring forward information, map it, match it, present it, because it's important for people on their seeker's journey, the real, the ones seeking, the ones that really need the information, because there's so much blocking of information these days, and people that just don't, they say they want disclosure, but they really don't want disclosure. They really don't, putting in plants and fake conferences and all the rest of it. So, but we sincerely do. So, guys, we are bringing you everything that we possibly can. Well, Tony, that's incredible that you have a team that actually double blind, remote viewed in the correct manner, and picks up the frequency, the energetic frequency and signature of this being. Elena, do we actually know the actual measurement of it? There's a lot of discussion on how big people think this plasmic consciousness in this old spacecraft is.
It is about 50 kilometers, no, 50 kilometers long, something like that, and 20 kilometers large. But I don't know exactly the number. I was looking while you were talking for a picture I made with AI of what I saw of Three-Eye Atlas, and because Tony, that can relate to what one of your remote viewers have seen. It's here, so I'm gonna put it on. Yes, and if I can share, okay, that's gonna tell you the round with the thing in the middle. There's a light, that's the front, and That's that's where you can see a pulsing orange light. That's the front of it. So stop share, and I have another one. Where is it? Okay. No, it's not this one. I can't find it. But anyways, that's the idea.
Oh my God.
This one represents it well. Wait a minute. That's not my artwork, but that's something. Oh, where is it? Zoom. Here we go. Share. You see this light in the front. So your remote viewers have seen something like a round with something spirally, shiny on the top. That's the front view. That's the front view. Oh, I
Amazing.
just want to share that. What do you think, Tony?
Well, I'm looking through, so I wasn't planning on going through all the data, and I've got a pile of emails. I'm looking through them as you're showing me this, and there are some that are um, uh, support that. So I'm trying to dig it up too. I'm also digging through here. That's pretty interesting. I wish we'd have done this. I should get a hold of you if I ever do a space target anyway. Um,
Oh yeah, we need to do more space stuff together.
well, yeah, for the purpose of instruction for remote viewing, I've always kept it on what I call mundane targets, the targets that
Yeah.
don't matter. A park bench or a ball or a can or something. But everybody is crying out for more stuff. And so I'm moving in the groups into what I call spicier targets. So moving forward, we're doing these weekly. We're going to be doing way more space stuff and mysteries, trying to solve mysteries, which I haven't been doing. So
Yes.
we had some good luck on a few recently.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's hard for me to get them on my computer here, but suffice to say, we had a lot of supporting evidence around what you just showed, Elena.
That's fantastic. That's so
That's
fantastic.
amazing. That's amazing. Well,
So,
if you can find it, so that'd be cool.
Let
Well,
me see.
well, all right, let's switch subjects then. Tony, I'll come back to you because I'm going to ask you about your trip to the moon and other things because I want people to remember that you guys actually have been to space. You have been to Mars, to Ceres, to the moon. And so I'll come back so you can have more time to have a look for that image if you like. And Elena, I'm going to come to you. Elena, please can you tell us how spacecraft work? How, in brief, as I know it's not an easy subject to just do a quick synopsis on, it deserves a lot more attention. You've given it hundreds of hours already. You've described in great detail. But for people just new to information, just catching up, and always wondering, can you explain propulsion systems and the actual fuel that these craft, because there are so many different craft to use, please take your time.
how much time do you have? Okay. Do you have different uh, domains for getting a craft to travel through space? First, you need to take it off gravity, off mass. Then you need to give it an engine, fuel it. And then you need to give it a propulsion system. And then fourth, you need to give it navigation system. So taking the craft off mass is very easy. It works with torsion fields. So the torsion fields are so it's generated by two toroids, which are put one into the other at the base of the ship, or sometimes it's just in spheres, like we've seen on the German Honebu. But usually the ETs do it, do the toroid at the bottom of the ship. So these toroids are filled with mercury iodine, which is a material, a fluid that has a fantastic capacity for creating magnetic fields. So when mercury iodine is activated by either a magnet at the center of the ship or either frill, which is an energy source collected from the void. And I can do another explanation about that. So when the center impulse is going to be activated in the center of the double toroids, it's going to activate a magnetic field that is going to trigger the mercury iodine in the outer toroid, in the outer donut. It's like a donut in a donut. And this mercury iodine is going to start to move in the same direction as the magnetic field's current. It's going to move like this, vertically, like this, like this. And when the fluid is in motion, it creates in turn its own electromagnetic field. And this electromagnetic field is going to activate the second donut toroid that is in it, that is also filled with mercury iodine. But the gap in between, there's a gap of void, because this is very important to isolate the two dynamics. So it's going to activate the fluid in the inner toroid in a perpendicular movement. That is physics. So the first is turning like this. The second is turning like this. And the perpendicular dynamics, which is called magnetohydrodynamics, it's an independent, self-inducing dynamics, is going to cancel mass. I mean, the whole ship, everything that will be inside this toroidal magnetic field, electromagnetic field, is going to have mass cancellation. So the ship is going to float. It's floating. You can do that with your finger. It's going to go. You can. So it has no mass. So now we have our ship floating. Now we need to get it to move. It has a fuel engine. Well, fuel engine. It has either plasma, either magnets, either frill. Now you need to have a navigation system that is going to tell the ship how to move. How the ship will move is that usually in a flying saucer shaped ship, for instance, you're going to have thrusters with, it's like cut like a cake, if you want to just visualize it. It looks very much like the flux liner that was disclosed by Mark McCandlish at an exhibition a while ago, where retro-engineered vehicles were displayed. And it's the same system. So you have the thrusters and electrical impulses are going to be sent in it. And because we are in a situation of mass cancellation, so the electrical impulsions will be not only at high intensity, high voltage, but it will just propel the ship like a rocket. And it can change direction. You can, so fast, you can just modulate the electrical impulsions in the thrusters, and it's going to go poof, poof, poof. It's kind of high speed to like angles and unbelievable. Nothing can stop it. So now you need something to get it to go. So to decide. So that is two types of things. The most usual thing at the first level is an artificial intelligence, which is a supercomputation that is the brain of the ship. And then this is going to interface with the pilots, the navigators, the interface, either with consciousness for higher grade civilizations or either with the mind or either even with an implant in the mind of the pilot. So that's the interface. You have another type of interface. It's with not an artificial intelligence, but with an organic intelligence, non-biological, plasmic consciousness, as we were talking about for 3i Atlas, for instance, or Python. And these are inhabiting the ship, and they are living beings, responding like a curious pet and very friendly. And they are going to interface with the pilots, and the pilots are going to invite them to go wherever they want. Pilots prefer to interact with artificial intelligence because it's more responsive. It doesn't conflict with what it wants to go. And then you have different ways of moving through space. You have warp speed, you have time portals, you have stargates, you have wormholes, you have all type of things. And I think if you have another hour, I can go there, but I'm going to stop here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to get your input. You didn't know I was going to ask you that question. You've had no time to research. You speak from experience, you speak from knowledge, and that, guys, watching is a huge difference between Elena Danan, Tony Rodriguez, and their explanations of their true life experiences and others that don't have the ready to go information. I don't mean because they've rehearsed it, I mean because they've experienced it. Now, talking of experiences, Tony, did you find an image you wanted to share with us before we go on to our next
I
subject?
just I took a few highlight clips that may support, but they're not obvious. You really have to analyze the data in its whole. I can clip through them in a share, but we can have a peek if you guys want to look at some remote viewing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what?
yeah.
You know why? Because the people that did them, I'd like them to be on the show and they can be proud of it. So I'm
Yeah,
very proud of the people and the work they do.
you're so
Um,
nice.
so this is the first one. I showed this before. This structure was similar and came up a lot. We had plasma orange. Here's
Mhm.
your shape, Elena. So this is what Ed's, and this was early on, one of the early results. Then this structure came on. She said this was an energetic thing, and a pyramidal shape kept showing up. Here's your front look, a planet,
No,
not
that's
a
it.
Earth. So there it is again, kind of abstract feeling of being under a cave looking out at the sky, and then a planet, not of Earth. So I zoomed in and took clips. Literally, I was looking at this the moment you were talking about the toroidal fields. And that's what we get, a
Ah,
spinning disk and the mount with mountains nearby. So I feel like it's probably got an object that's got a stone component. Hovering feels like an hourglass, an energy propulsion system, something underneath a mountain with a tunnel. We got a lot of tunnel things and mountains and tunnels, basically.
well, it's
This
like a tunnel inside. It's long and hollowed. That's it.
this is one of the beings that was towards the energy. This is what they saw, a being like this that was
Wow, there are
looked
actually beings
foamy.
like this.
Yeah, that it looked foamy. That's the word. So
Oh my
very
God.
impressive with here. The rest of the viewing was kind of abstract. Here's again the tunnel with uh, cups or vases made of ceramic full of dust. I don't know what that if that would have anything. Also, this arching shape was repeating. We got an arch shape like this that repeated throughout. And then patterns with color, like a sacred chamber, streams of energy, light, warm, recently opened, feels like heart energy. I think that's it. I think that's it for them.
Really went inside.
Well,
So,
and
wow, 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 wow.
the other thing that
They're very good.
like I said, they had no idea that it was off planet. It's difficult when we do successive targets. So, Danny, I wanted to touch on what you said. You clarified between remote viewing and viewing, or reading, getting a reading done and remote viewing. And the reading is something that anybody can do, but to do it impartially, to open up to the data and not skew it with your own data, front load the data is rare. So somebody has to have a lot of skill or a lot of experience to take their own interpretation of the data. I always say it's just like dreaming. If I have a dream that you crashed into my car and my car was smashed out my driveway, I don't think you should get in trouble for it until we get more proof, right? The dream might put me in the right direction. Like I dreamt that you crashed into my car, but ultimately it's not evidence. It's a dream. It is, but it is information. Remote viewing is along those lines. So if I remote view that you commit a crime, I'd want more evidence. It would look in that direction, but it's not enough. And view readings to me can be highly front loaded. People, and then there are grifters. There are people that are doing readings and just telling people what they know they want to hear. And I think that's really saturates and makes the entire field look bad. And they're all over the place. The glory of remote viewing is you have no idea. There is no front loading because it's a blind target. So it removes a lot of the falsehoods of it. You know, like people that would fake, you don't have the ability to fake it if it's a blind target. But somebody that's doing a reading, go to at the carnival or something, you can pay, get a reading and tell me about my this and that. And then they go in and do their act and they tell them what they want to hear. And those instances are ruin it for everybody, for the people that are legitimate, you know, for the real stuff. Anyhow, I like to differentiate that because I kind of find myself embroiled in that discussion often when I speak publicly about remote viewing. Um, and then the recent, how you said it's full of Jedi. So Jedi, unbeknownst to a lot of people, the Jedi is a program based by the DIA and the CIA. It's what they call their psychics, based on Star Wars. They took it from Star Wars, and your
Oh,
CIA trained
wow.
combat psychic is called a Jedi. So when somebody says it's a Jedi, that means it's a CIA op. And so we tell people that the Jedis are coming in on the three. It's a bunch of horse hockey. It's horse crap. The Jedi are CIA combat psychics, the same way that I was in 1983. I was an 11-year-old boy, certified field operational psychic, and these guys are the same stuff. Only a lot of them are kind of jerks because they've in we talked about this greatly, but this is one of the lesson plans this week is that they've greatly the paper trail goes cold, and they've greatly integrated occult practices in what became of remote viewing and psychoenergetics because they found that it's combat effective to induce or involve themselves with an entity or a dead person or a being, something extra dimensional. And they have come very far. So I'm still researching this behind them. And we were talking about this off camera too, that they've come very far in their abilities in psychoenergetics by using entities. And black magic people will tell you this all day long, but nobody believes them. The CIA is doing this with our tax dollars in combat scenarios against its own citizens and against foreign interests alike. They are using entities and what you would call black magic, but it's not. It's all Danny, what you said with viewing and with readings and remote viewing is the exact same phenomenon. It's the exact same science. Bending spoons, reading, you telling your future, remote viewing, psychoenergetically interacting with targets, all of on and on and on. It's the same exact science. And our government is quite progressed at it and classified a lot of it. And believe me, when you get out here in the disclosure world, Elena knows and we know they're using it on us. And so I'm studying it from the scientific aspect, and I happen to teach it to 70 people. And we talk about protection. When we talk about moving into the spicier targets, like I said, you have to protect yourself against it. And so it's right into the magic realm. Back in the day, they called it magic, but it's a science. It's consciousness science. And we all do this stuff all day long. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal the convo away, but
No, my love. God, are you kidding me? This is perfect. This is so important. Go ahead, Lena.
I want to add something. Thank you, Tony, for what you just said about the Jedi CIA programs. And I think that's very important because when I try to debunk it, I'm the one with the bad spirit. So now, people, you're going to share this information. You're going to go make this video go viral because what Tony has just said, it's prime information. So go for it. You share the out of this everywhere. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Tony, let's give people a bit more of a backstory on you because there is this term that gets thrown around and gets denied, and it's called the 20 and back. Can you just explain directly, not just your experience, but what is a 20 and back, Tony?
there's a few different versions of it that I believe people qualify for it and experience it slightly differently. But ultimately, extraterrestrials, and now the US government and other governments and corporations around the world have the ability, the technology to abduct a person and have them in their possession for 20 years at a time and put them back to the same day they were abducted. Sounds good. What do you mean by that? What are you talking about? They can take you and keep you and work you for 20 years. You'll grow up. I was 10 years old. I grew up to 30 years old. And then with exotic technology, I was regressed or however they did it. I don't know. I was I was on the table. I don't know how what the procedure was, but through their advanced technology, they can regress you right back to that 10-year-old body and put you back the next day. And you have your memories erased. It sounds, the way I'm saying it sounds crazy, but the fact is, there's a ton of proof, and I keep shaking out evidence. Evidence still, I don't even care to present my evidence anymore because I've been doing this so long. I feel like a broken record, but new evidence keeps presenting itself. You know what described in Inyokern, the swinging chairs? I recently found that the remote viewing and psychic research, there were books put out from a fellow that pioneered hanging people by swinging chairs because it favored out of body experiences. So the thing that I said 10 years ago in my testimony that nobody knew anything about, I recently found a book published and this guy did it back in the late 60s was when he pioneered this. And it was, the MK Ultra stuff. So what I'm saying is just another thing on the pile of circumstantial supporting evidence, which there's tons of it. Series is also crapping out evidence behind my testimony recently. The more that they explore Ceres, now they're saying that there's microbial life and underground oceans there, which is exactly what I said from day one too. And I said the briny salt is there. So talking about the tall claim of being abducted for 20 years and living for 20 years by ETs and working in space and going to the moon and beyond and other star systems, working on a UFO, and then being put back to my Willis, Michigan home and my life as a 10-year-old boy and being completely not mentally the same ever again. Is the story, but there's so much supporting evidence. And the thing is, I'm not the only one. There are thousands of people that say they feel like they've been through the same thing. I get contacted almost daily by people that say they saw my interview and they feel like they went through the same exact thing. And when I question them, when I follow up on it, there's usually credible evidence because there's things that we know that nobody else really knows and that line up. So it seems to be a widespread phenomenon when you think about the value of labor and the ability to take people from here and use them for free labor and then go and build your space station. It makes a lot of sense. It answers a lot of questions. One of the big debunkers of UFO researchers is of a secret space program is the cost. And I spoke about this at the first GSIG. Who's paying for all these big spaceships? That's the big argument on the secret space program from some very well-known, very well-respected researchers. My answer to them is it's slave labor. They're not paying anything. They didn't pay me anything. I got paid nothing. They're taking people and they're putting them through their program. They keep them for 20 years. They train them for 5. They got 15 years of absolutely free labor. And that's the economics of the space program. And it's highly advanced. Like we feel bad down here that we're working for money that's printed out of thin air. And they're taking us and working us again for not even anything, for just time. So I don't know if that explains the 20 and back very well, Danny, but ultimately I was taken at 10 years old. I was taken April 15th, 1982. And I worked in these black programs on Earth and in space and throughout space. I went very far in space on a ship as a cargo engineer. And then I was put back to April 16th, 1982. I woke up that morning and I felt like I had been gone for 20 years. And I was a different person. I was a 10-year-old person body, right? I went back again. And that's what happened. I don't know if you have any more follow up. I hope I explained it.
Yeah, no, it's a very difficult one to explain, especially with the age regression, technology to create a 10-year-old boy, kidnap him like you were kidnapped by grey extraterrestrials. Your whole house went on the wonk. There was some kind of, weaponry used. You were removed. They tricked you into giving consent. and then you were put into the first program. And it's just incredible to think that you're then physically, biologically growing up for 20 years, and yet you were put back in your body as a 10-year-old the very next morning. Our minds cannot conceive of how time can be manipulated in such a way, how we can bend time, move the fabric of time. And you mentioned the word exotic technologies. Do you have anything else you can add that will kind of cover what you mean specifically by exotic technologies?
Well, sure. I mean, time travel. So yeah, Elena gave us a great and gives, I gotta say, her last presentations that I've seen live have been stunning about describing the technology and consciousness and
Oh,
the
thank you.
and the relationship between the two. It's like nobody else is on that level. Really, there's nobody else giving out information on the technology of the space, what happens in space and space flight on that level. So that's an exotic technology. So there is an A to B flight, like she says. There's engines that go A to B. They fly as the crow flies. But there are also, I forget what you call them. We called them bridges. They called being making a bridge. So we referred to it when I worked on series. We're going to bridge to the star X158 because they were numbers, they were not names. They're not Palladian. It was a number that we went to. We're going to bridge to X1481. And that drive creates a rip in time space. And I believe you covered this in your talk recently in France. Elena, you did cover it in your slide presentation. It was beautiful. It was better than I could, and I worked at it, and I wrote on it for 10 years. Um, but basically, it creates a rip. And in order to travel, my understanding was the farther that you could make a wormhole, because it's power based, it's dependent on the power output of the ship. The farther in space that you could immediately jump, the farther forward and backward in time you could go. So a ship that could only jump for a short to a next star system could only go forward and backward in time so far. So it was based on power output. Like that's what I remember of it. So in order to travel very far in space, it also gives you the ability to travel in time. And that's the exact thing. So when we talk about a loophole or a a glitch that they can exploit, a rule of time that they can exploit and get free labor or add extension to your life. So ultimately, the 20 and back technology is life extension. So it's adding another 20 years to someone's life. It's very valuable. And just the wrong people are using it. I'm evidence that people are being victimized by it as well.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, unthinkable that anyone would do that to a child or a human. And people have a hard time imagining that. Well, they're like, why wasn't I told? Well, the people that run these programs, that are owned and run these programs, they don't want that information out. They don't want anyone to know there is horrific corruption in the governments, in the militaries, in leaders, authorities, in senior educators, scientists, people are bought and paid for and always have been. And that's something that obviously we're trying to change and expose in the way that we do. And we won't stop. We haven't stopped. We'll never stop. And this next, gathering that we're all coming to, Elena Danan, Tony Rodriguez, Nikki Allen, Praveen Mohan, gosh, who else is there? It just, my mind blows every time I think about these people. Billy Carson, who's going to be talking about simulation theory. I cannot wait to hear Billy Carson's information on that. He's a great researcher, great speaker. We have Daniel Brinkley, of course, he's near-death experiencer, just spends his life taking care of people who are dying because he knows there's no such thing as death. And so what we're doing a lot this year is bringing in the science of consciousness to bringing in technologies. Elena, give us a brief synopsis on what you're going to be sharing.
So I cannot stop myself to talk about science again. So I cannot do without. So to this time, I will talk about Anunnaki genetic science. And that's going to be very cool because that's going to blow everybody's socks off. Oh, well, I think I'm going to share for the first time. Then I'll share it, on my platforms. But I want to offer to you, give Danny, do it first at JSIC, give them the exactly what has been going on scientifically, genetically, during what we call the Genesis. Who were the protagonists? What did they do? And how does the very tiny, precise science of genetics works in the operations of genetic interbreeding with ETs? How does that happen? What's really going on inside of the cell, inside of the DNA helix itself? How do you do that? What are the mechanics of this? And what are the technologies involved? Because it's not the technologies that are used on Earth at the moment. It involves holographic technology, teleportation of materials, holographic scanners, and all sorts of frequency tools that are used and frequency keys that I'm going to explain because that goes way beyond everything that you can imagine. That's the science of the future. That's the science that is going to be taught to the medics on Earth, that is at the moment being taught to medics on the moon with the factories of medbeds. So I'm going to talk about that as well. What are the Anahim? What is the Anahim role in helping the medical personnel of the Earth Alliance on the moon with giving all these technologies that will help improve the health system on Earth if you want to have it. All these things, and but to talk about all of this, I'm not going to tell you, oh, I get this like from the top of my head. No, no. I get this from two sources. From Iya or Enki himself, and also from my own personal memories, because I was one of the scientists who took part in these experiments in one of my incarnations. So I'm going to talk about one of my incarnations as an Anunnaki geneticist and give you all you've ever hoped to know about it. So fasten your seatbelts.
It's so incredible. Again, it's very important. Again, when we bring information through a GISIC, Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection Conference, we are very sincere in delivering information based on actual experience, not the experience we've lived through others necessarily. So the difference between a librarian, a historian, a researcher, for example, is those people get information from other people's experiences. What you're bringing, Elena, is direct experience. What you're bringing, Tony, is absolutely direct experiences. And that is why GISIC conferences are set apart from all of the others. And I do say that with absolute sincerity and joy and passion. And, lately we've been seeing a lot of, clashing. And of course, the deep state are trying desperately hard to separate people and, stop people going to conferences. But that to me is such a waste of a life, because if you're not going to a conference because you've seen people arguing and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, you're taking your opportunity to grow and they're winning. Yeah. You're taking your ability to self-advocate for yourself, guys. You are falling for the plan, and that is to decimate the disclosure field and leave a few silly puppets out there. And it's funny, Tony, when you said about, and I don't want to criticize other people, it's so old, it's so last year, I'm so over it, but we do really want to bring people forward and help them grow and encourage them not to not go. But Tony, when you mentioned Jedi being an actual CIA psyop, it really does help to shine a light on those who are dishonest and bring disinformation and confuse the reality of disclosure. And it also shows people who grift, use your word, Lena, grift off innocent, sweet people who sign up to someone that they think is really, getting information from Earth Alliance. And he absolutely isn't. And I just encourage everyone, guys, get your proof. Ask for the evidence. What are their sources? Where are they getting this from? If you're channeling information from disembodied spirits, well, that's not the best place to trust information. But anyway, talking of spirits and talking of images, Tony, I've got to come to you because my beautiful Pandora, who does our reels and videos, wants me to ask you a direct question. And that is, Tony Rodrigues, did you or did you not see a reptilian? If you did, what did it look like? And what was your interaction with it?
Saw several reptilians. There were many kinds. I saw very large ones. I saw tall, skinny ones, a couple of them, and I saw short, stocky ones. That one that I got to spend a few hours with when I was being worked on. And I I thought they were beautiful. So I think that the detail of their scales around their face, I thought that as a to appreciate a living thing, I thought they were beautiful entity, beautiful. And the one that I spent the day with was a person. He was the equivalent of a guy in his 20s. He had a great sense of humor and he was doing a job. And when it was time to do his job, he totally got off the clock. He could care less about me. But when there was nothing that mattered, he was sitting there ultimately with a little kid, and he was entertaining, like the big brother vibe. And so he was a person, and that's how I feel. We get away in a very, I guess it's understandable, but a bad way of saying the ETs are all this or they're all that. The reptiles are this, and well, the grays are different, but the grays are this. Like you throw a blanket on one species, and I mean, can you do that to people? Can you do that to humans? Can you say the humans are good and the humans are bad? You can't because there's so many different ones of it. I mean, you can go out to dinner tonight and get a burger, and you're going to be sitting next to people that are on the spectrum, far apart on their morality. And ETs are the same way. So, but when I met him, he was a guy working that I hung out with was a short ET, short reptilian. But I also met other reptilians that made it very clear that they had no respect for us, and we did business with them. We dropped off cargo, and they made it very clear that they would be very happy to end our lives in a heartbeat. So there are species out there that don't respect us as their equal. Or, I don't know. I don't really have the words to put it eloquently, but what I'm saying is there's a pecking order. Not all species have we may respect them all. You may, like I said, if you put everybody in a gymnasium and you walk in the gymnasium and go, I think everybody here is beautiful. Everybody here is so cool. That doesn't mean that there isn't a bully that will punch you in the face when you go to the high school dance. Like not everybody likes you. And we as humans are not liked by all of them. And so that's where the stereotype comes of the reptilian mindset, the reptilians. But that doesn't reach around. The universe is a big place. It's a very big place, and all of these species are all over the place, and there are different levels of morality and development of them socially. So I don't know. Does that answer that question, or is there's another part of that? What do
No,
they look like?
no, that's really great. And again, what we say when we're saying negative reptilians, we're talking about the Draco and the Sakaar specifically. And Elena has ad nauseum brought information. Go ahead.
Well, I would say that all of them, if they didn't know you, we look like a version of their food that they evolved eating. Like they evolved and we are mammals to a reptile. Like it's a natural thing. Like I it's silly to think about it, to think of a metaphor in the other direction, but to see something that we wouldn't naturally respect if we were saw, but um that's the case. That's the case. They look at us, they're most of the time physically superior and or taller, bigger, and have a different diet than we do, eat food, raw food, that sort of thing. And they don't have a lot of respect for us. We're an underdeveloped species as far as they're concerned. At least that's what I remember.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. Thank you. I remember the last time I saw reptilians, I was in Costa Rica, and my house was built on stilts at the very top of a mountain. And all outside, I was in the jungle canopy, and I saw three walking the perimeter. They were black and they had red eyes. And the next day, Thor Hanaredian and Annex turned up physically inside of my house, and that was to up level protection. And another time, a similar time, it's funny because some of the animals in the jungle in Costa Rica, some of them looked like they were not finished off properly. It was very bizarre. There were some like little geckos. I took a picture once and showed Elena like these little geckos, they'd run up because my house was all glass. They'd run up and it was like their hands weren't properly developed. They looked like experiments. Some of the things had malfunctioned in that jungle canopy, and that's very, very unusual. Like they were genetic experiments, and you could see that they were not as perfect as other perfected, little beings were. And then the other reptilian I saw, this was something that was holographically broadcasting to me. It wasn't physically standing in front of me, it was peacocking. It was a bright royal blue color. It had the little kind of hood here over the, like a horn, but not quite a horn, more like a hood, some kind of winged attachment, and it was trying to get my attention. I told it to F off, of course, and shut down frequency, because that's a really good way of not allowing anything to come into your field or loosh or interrupt or manipulate your field. You have to show absolute fearlessness, be completely neutral, so nothing can engage or plug into your field. Elena, would you like to share anything? I mean, you've shared countless hundreds of hours, of course, but again, there's always new people coming in to the information that might not know who we are.
What do you want to me to talk about?
Us reptilians, as we brought the subject up.
Ah, there are so many races of reptilians, so many even subspecies of reptilians. When we talk about reptilians regarding our history, oh, someone's here. It's referring of to Alpha Draconian Siccar, and they were very nasty. Hey, look who's here!
Ooh, ooh, hi, darling, you all right?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're good. We're recording right now, so just so you know, we're recording. We are kind of live. So Elena was just sharing information on reptilians. Some of the reptilians I did too, and Tony did also. So we'll come to you in a moment. But Elena, just finish off that great story.
Well, the first talk about reptilians was actually Alex Collier in the early 1990s. He warned about the reptilian abductions for slave trade and workforce, and Tony was also a victim of this. These reptilians who work with the Dark Fleet, for instance. There's a lot to talk about that. And so we every time we spoke about reptilians on Earth is about the reptilians who were really nasty with us and invaders, basically. And they've been kicked out. But that's not all about reptilians. There are an infinity of diversity of species in creation, and everything is possible. So you have, of course, like humans, as Tony was explaining, you have inside of a culture, civilization, even a family, you have people wanting to annoy everyone, and people want to love everyone, and that makes a whole. That doesn't make a species bad or good. Well, regarding the sea car, uh, I challenge anyone to find a nice one. These guys were
Or a
fucked up.
Zeta.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, the Zeta. Oh my
Or a
God.
Zeta.
Zeta Reticuli, the Eban from Betelgeuse, the Solipsiride, all the Mitra.
Yeah.
Mitra. Come on. Oh, wow. Anyways, and so yeah, there are so many options in creation. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
The one that I mentioned, I think his world, like the shorter reptilian that I said I got along with, I believe that he was kind of in the same boat. Like his species of reptilian was a subordinate to the Draco reptilians. Like they were, his world was conquered as well. That's what that's kind of how he acted. But they were post disclosure, like a world that was taken over post disclosure. So they were part of the apparatus that he was working. He was working a 9 to 5, basically.
Just incredible. Well, let's move to our beautiful friend here on the screen. This is JP. He is an Army insider, Special Forces activities. He goes on actual missions off planet with the American military on anti gravity reverse engineered craft that can get to the moon in a very short space of time. He's not dressed up for Halloween. For those of you that don't know, he wears the mask to protect himself and his identity. A couple of reasons. One is for his protection, but also there are personnel on the missions that will recognize him, and he is largely undercover. Is that a fair enough description, my darling?
Yes, yes, that's a fair enough description. Thank you for having me here, Danny. I'm really happy about this movement that's happening, bringing this disclosure that we're bringing every year, and a lot more people are realizing what we're bringing to the table, and people are loving it, and the governments are seeing these movements in different countries. We did one in Eastbourne. It was powerful. It was beautiful. We had a flyover there. We had a flyover over in the United States in Colorado. And let's see, we know something's going to happen in Charlotte. So I'm really happy to be there speaking. And yes, I'll be revealing my face in Charlotte. So I'm really happy to announce that. And it's going to be amazing. People are going to see my face for the first time. And I wish everybody could go and visit Charlotte when I reveal my face. It's going to be a beautiful experience.
Oh my goodness, we're so thrilled. We're so thrilled. I kind of feel emotional because it's been a long time coming. And JP, you've brought so much to disclosure continuously for years and years and years. So much has been validated. And again, it's so lovely with the three. You're right, Elena. Nearly in tears
I
there.
know I'm emotional because I'm so proud of you, JP.
So proud of you.
It's just I think people needs to see my face to really realize, that we're doing the right thing, If I always stay hidden, it's like, oh, okay, he's hiding for a reason. I don't want that to happen. So I think it's time to people to see my face and see the love vibration of what we all carry, not just me, what we all carry on stage. And
Yes.
I think my facial features will be beautiful to tell my experiences as well. So I think it's going to be a beautiful experience when people see my face for the first time.
You will
Yeah.
see the frequency that this man radiates, and he's very handsome.
Oh,
Unmarried, ladies and gentlemen.
And he has
yeah.
a beautiful wife.
Stunning.
Sorry for that, ladies.
Oh, she's
My wife's not jealous.
that's so funny.
Your wife is a gem. She's beautiful in so many ways.
Yeah, yeah, she helps me out a lot in my
Yeah.
journey, in our journey, in
Yeah.
the journey that we all are doing. It's gonna be a beautiful ride, this Charlotte.
It is indeed. And
The
you,
Charlotte Web.
yeah.
That's what I'm calling it.
Oh my God. You mentioned briefly that the flyovers we've had at all of our GISIC events, Galactic Spiritual Informers, the event that we all speak at every year, Disclosure Conference, the biggest and the best in the world, in my opinion, with you, with us, with the best speakers possible that can prove their evidence and bring physical spacecraft over the audience. Who else is doing that in the world? No one. Not a single person. We're bringing them down low. We say the day, the time, the place, and the craft come. Now, for anyone in the world, you can look up, all the way uppity, uppity, up. You're going to see craft. They're there all the time. But the
Yeah,
difference is at our events, we bring the spacecraft down low from the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the military craft, the ETs working for the military, for the good side, and they cohabitate and corroborate with the Earth military. And just a few weeks ago, May the 10th, 2025, we brought a beautiful fleet of craft. I brought two, you bought the rest, JP. You bought a ton of, there were cigar shaped scout ships, plasma ships. Over 2,000 people saw it. And then we had the most incredible advance. We believe it was a TR9. Has anybody confirmed? I know we've had it confirmed it came from RAF Lakenheath. a Royal Air Force base in England called RAF Lakenheath. And I just got that confirmed. Also, anyone can go look at the records of who was on duty that weekend, and you will see that a ton of the soldiers were given the weekend off. All I care about is proving physical proof, physical evidence constantly, and that's what we're doing. So Alex Collier, our beloved friend, Andromedan contactee, light years ahead of the rest of us in bringing disclosure for the last 30 years. He thought it might have been a TR9, a much more advanced TR3B triangular craft. JP, can you give us any more enlightenment on that?
Yeah, I'm sure it was a military type craft that went over Eastbourne that almost above 3,000 people because we had the people that went and visited the conference, but we also had the people that was walking up and down and stopping and seeing everything that we were doing. And then the next, I think, week that happened, it went viral with the news that they started talking about it, about the event in Eastbourne as well. But I'm sure it was the military. What Alex Collier said, he is a respected veteran and in the community of ufology and a contactee. And yeah, yeah, I'm sure it was the TR-39.
Yeah, it was, and it had more lights than usual. So, but depending on where you stood on the hill, I was at the standing towards the top, and at first I thought, oh, that's a plane. It looked just like a plane initially, and then we got people standing underneath, at a lower gravitational standing on the ground, looking up and taking pictures of the triangle. It was just amazing, amazing, amazing. And then
Yeah,
we
the most advanced ones that are out right now that they have four lights in each side, a total of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, a total of four in each side in each corner, and that's exactly that flew over towards going towards the ocean, towards the French area, south. So I'm sure they had the green light to fly over and to show everybody, hey, we're here and we're all about transparency.
Yeah. And the good Earth military are working with the good benevolent military ETs off planet. And that was also something so, so, so important to keep on proving and bringing and bringing. Because regardless of militaries, governments, anyone, anywhere on the entire planet, you're not stopping what's happening. You're too late. You had a job to do. You all failed at it, you negative ones. So you can sit your asses down and we'll take the lead. Guys, it's interesting because a lot of people call us the Fab Four. The Fab Four. I mean, they used to call the Beatles the Fab Four. I mean, I'll take it. It's fun. It's great. We're bringing it. We're landing it. And there's anyone who tells the truth. There's a place for you. Anyone who is telling the truth, who's coming from love for your brothers and your sisters, for bringing absolute clarity and evidence. Guys, there's room for all of us if you're coming from those values. It's quite simple. Gone are the days where we do deals and it's all about the money and the fame. We don't care about that. That's not for humanity. What we're doing is for humanity, for all of you, for all of us. End of story. Now, JP, I do want to come back to you because it is so incredible for anyone that's never seen you. And there's new people every day finding us and coming into the information, coming to our
Yeah.
conference. GISIC, Galactic Spiritual Informers, the best conference in disclosure ever, quite frankly. And that's why the military come to. And the ETs in the audience, as you were saying earlier, Tony, so many ETs in the audience. I met with our volunteer team earlier, and Disco Tina and Moira, who's running the volunteers this year. And we were just discussing the years that some of the volunteers have been, because they love to come, love to support, and they're all in service. The volunteers were like, their agenda for supporting GISIC is to be in service and find people that might come on their own, but they're nervous. They're going to be reaching out, giving them a hug, bringing them for a coffee. That's what GISIC is. We find each other, we care for each other, we connect, people fall in love every year. But anyway, back to you, JP, I digress, sorry. Tell us, JP, you have literally got on a craft at Eglin Air Force Base in America and gone to
Mhm.
the moon. Please tell us, how is this possible? What is the craft? What is the propulsion system on it? What else can you tell us? How long does it take to get to the moon, JP?
I leave that info. I'm just a regular soldier. I get on the craft, the science of how it moves. I can tell you how it feels like. You feel like gravity is leaving your feet, and once you hit a certain atmosphere of height, you start floating. It doesn't have the artificial gravity, but I guess once it starts going at certain speed, the artificial gravity comes in, and I know that's a type of technology that it has, the ship itself, and it creates a bubble around the ship that makes it connect with what is the realm that it's within, and it's just pure science, simple. Like when people find out how simple and the energy, how simple it is, they're gonna realize, oh wow, like that's how easy it was, and I'm sure there's smart people out there when they do the research on how Tesla, the history of Tesla, and from there on, and the history of all these down UFOs or extraterrestrial ships that we have found and interacted, or these ETs that has been visiting Earth for thousands of years and sharing technology and sharing ideas of how to go to space, but we have been going there for thousands of years. It's just um ATS, about above top secret type of thing that happens, in every base. It's not just the United States. Every government has a connection with ETs that, they, um, all of a sudden we stop going to space for a reason. Okay. These programs are still happening. And my Facebook, I just dropped about the Project Horizon. They started it in 1960, I think two-ish, around there. And we made it to the moon. And all of a sudden, NASA lost the technology, lost everything, how to go back to the moon and how to, but why? Because we had these black projects that has been going on to that date on to 2025. And all these soldiers and civilians are going to space and back to Earth, space and back to Earth, visiting the moon, visiting area around Mars. I'm happy to hear the news of Ceres. Um, they found carbon dioxide recently coming out from Ceres, so this confirms the experience that Tony had, you know, and it went mainstream a couple, I think, last week. I think I posted it and somebody took it down. I got hacked and somebody took it down. So I'm
Wow.
trying to find it again to post it. And I think I tagged the group about this and they just took it down from my page. Like if somebody don't want people to know about it, you know? So
It's a bit
the
late.
ship,
He wrote a book on it, Series Colony Cavalier. So, and his experience up there as a slave, stolen by the military, taken as a slave with other slaves, enslaved on Mars, on planet Mars. And again, for people, if it's your first time hearing it, that's okay. We're all going to catch up with each other. Mars is inhabited. Elon Musk knows that very well. Occupy Mars, it's already occupied. A lot of military from around the world are based on Mars, correct, people?
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And not just not just you got generational people that are born in space and live in space and was told a story that Earth was destroyed and they living in space like if Earth is radioactive or something like that. Like it's crazy. And I think this truth is
Mm.
gonna come out. I think the Trump administration is pushing for this truth to come out, and I'm really happy about that.
It's incredible. It really is. Can you tell us what does the craft look like that you went on to the moon on, please?
It looked similar to like a TR-3B type of craft, and it's slightly bigger. When it comes, it hovers, and then it brings down like a ramp. You go up that ramp, and when it lands, right, it shuts down completely, but it's still floating. But you can't get close to it because it releases this energy that is quite dangerous, this radioactive energy that is quite dangerous. So they really lower down the amp of it, the electricity of it. That's how I like to call it because when you get close to these ships, your hairs, everything goes up, and you're like it's static. Everything you touch is like everything turns statically, and you enter to the ship and they strap you down. You have the pilot that connects to the ship in a conscious way. It connects with the brain, and the ship is feels alive. It feels like you're connected to the ship. And this is governmental, but the ET ships as well, they connect with you in a mental way that it becomes part of you. It becomes like part of your limb, or like a cell phone. Like, well, a cell phone is part of the human body right now. You know, you need it. You need it. You can't. You wake up and you need to know what's going on. You know, uh, the ship becomes like that. So when it starts flying, like I said, when it leaves the atmosphere, it floats, but and then it creates its own gravitational pull, and you feel like a humming sound that resonate through your body, like a humming sensation of the ship. And it's the energy that you feel, the energy that you feel of the ship connecting with Earth and leaving Earth atmosphere. And when you get close to the moon, you feel the pull of the ship with the moon, but it's slightly lighter. And you start seeing Earth. And yes, Earth is round. It's not flat. A lot of people say, "Oh, Earth is a flat Earth." All these people believing a flat Earth, but no, it's when you look back on Earth and you see Earth. When I saw Earth for the first time, it changed my life. It showed me how fragile we are as human beings. When you look back on Earth and you feel a sensation of crying because you see this beautiful blue ball just hovering like a ship itself through space, going around the sun. And it changes you how you see life. When you come back, you see your family with more love. You see the mountains with more love. You see anything that's nature with more love, and you treat everything with love. That's why I speak so much in my talks about love and care. You need the love consciousness, and everything is connected. When you go to space and you see out that window and you see Earth, it changes your life. You start stuttering about what is life, how fragile we are. If something happens to our planet, that's why, as humanity, we need to work together and bring the new technologies to surface and to contact these ETs are contacting us, and contacting soldiers or contacting civilians and all that. And yes, we have the people that don't want this information to come out. That is not to bring fear porn or none of that. We have the bad people that they just don't want this information to come out. And I think soon I got, some intel of how spiritual this earth is and how these interdimensional beings interact with us in a daily basis. Beings that you could be in a room and these beings can be there, and you're like, I can't believe it. They're in your same realm. So that's how you feel. That's how you feel when you get on the ship. The science of it, I really try to understand it, but I can't comprehend it because I don't have a science mind or a scientist mind. I did went to, the military school, and I know everything about filtration and how to convert any kind of water to drinking water. I do have that knowledge, but the knowledge of how quantum entanglement and the ship flies and all that, I don't have as much. They really keep us soldiers in the dark of how these technologies work.
Can understand that. And then Lena did a beautiful job earlier of telling us about propulsion systems and the fuel, how we fuel certain craft. They did a beautiful job. How long, time-wise, did it take you to get from Eglin Air Force Base on this TR-3B type craft to the moon?
It feels like a short amount of time. I don't know when the ship jolts, I don't know if it blacks you out. If it blacks you out and it feels like a short term of time, for me, it felt like a couple minutes. That's how fast these ships go. These ships. And I'm sure it jolts you in a way that you lose, like you're like, whoa, you just feel like dizzy, and then you just open up your eyes and you see the moon there, like holy shit, oh my goodness, like it changes you, it changes you, and they just jump. They're really fast. They just have the technology to warp in a way that they just jump to a location, and I'm sure that science comes out. I know Skunk Works and Lockheed Martin, they're all on that.
It
Mm.
was it was a couple hour trip back in the 80s. So when I went, it was like an hour and 45 minutes or so, under a couple hours to get there back in the 80s. So that means they've progressed. And and the same with Mars. Like I remember one of your was very validating, JP. Before I'd ever met you, I was listening to one of your interviews and you were talking about the flight to Mars that they make you go to sleep. And that was one of the things that I got asked by researchers. And how long did it take to go to Mars? And I thought, man, I can't remember. It was a long time. And I remember kind of waking up when we got there. And then you said they put you to sleep. And I went, oh, that's right. That's what they did. And it was very validating for me. It solved a lot of things I was struggling to remember, but it does. They have the Mars Colony Corporation has the technology to induce sleep. And then that transport does do that. So maybe that's what they're using on the moon ride now, or like you said, they might just be better at what they've got, the hardware they've got nowadays.
And it's the same thing. Like when I went to Mars, it's like a jolt. And you like feel like dizzying. Then you see freaking, you feel the vibration of freaking Jupiter, and that's another feeling. You're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, look at Jupiter. And everybody, it's not just you. It's like everybody's looking out the window like in awe, like open up their eyes and like, are we really here? And everybody's like punching each other like in the arm to see if you're awake and shit. And you're like, yo, we're in freaking Jupiter. Like, people are not gonna believe this shit. He's like, hey, just shut up, don't talk about it, man. Just don't enjoy the moment, dude, enjoy the moment. So you're like in awe when you go on these ships, and then not all ships have the same propulsion system. That's the thing. Like Tony was saying, there's some ships that take a couple hours, but then you have these ships that are way more advanced that has ET integrated technology that can just jolt you into like it brings it's weird because you could see the moon small, but it's like instead of you going to the moon, it brings the moon towards you. Like you feel that sensation of it coming to you, not you going to it, you know? So that's a sensation you can feel. When I went to Jupiter, right there, I could tell you, yes, I think I did went to sleep on that one, but it's like a short sleep that you wake up in between. That you look out and you're like dazed, and then you close your eyes and you're a little bit more farther, and you're like close your eyes, you're a little bit more farther, and you're like Jupiter's there. Same thing with Saturn. We were minding the rings of Saturn. The same thing, same feeling, and then coming back is the same thing. Um, it's just we have it, and I know they have said it before, but they just put it under the rug. That's what happened. They put everything under the rug, and they're holding the rug down, making sure nobody lifts it up and see all the dirt because a lot of people have died, you know, in these missions. A lot of people have passed away and have been replaced with empty souls beings, you know? It's weird. And it sucks because you know who have passed. I knew a couple friends that passed away and they tell their family something else, you know? And there's a dark side and there's a light side to everything that we do in life, and that's I think it's part of the universe, I guess, bad and good. I know we all want evil to go and go away, but sometimes in life you need something to push you to wake up and smell the coffee. You need somebody to do you wrong in order for you to jump more farther than ever and push you farther. You know, when you're bullied at school, you go to karate, you get better, and you come back at the bully and you kick his ass. You know, sometimes evil, I'm not saying evil is good. I'm saying that how much we want it to go away, it will go away. But we, being in the table with the right-minded people and love people, that's the only way it can go away because evil can just move away from you and not be part of your existence. So it's really important to control the people that are around your table and around you.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry, I'm going all over the
Oh, I
place,
love
but
it.
it's
No, it's
just so
great to
much
That's
see.
good.
shit.
It's good to see you so energized and so full of information and just vitality. It's beautiful. Before I come back to Elena, I want to ask you about the spaceport at Ganymede, which is one of Jupiter's moons. You've actually been there, JP. Can you tell us what
Yeah,
the spaceport looked like and what did you see? What were the beings like that you saw?
we saw different. I don't know if you guys ever seen uh
Men in Black.
Star Wars or Star Trek when they go into the bar and you see all these different beings interacting with each other, and there's like music in the background, but it's like a humming meditation type of music, and you see everybody talking to each other. You saw all kind of beings there. I saw all kind of beings on Ganymede. They have different facilities. They have the horseshoe facility. I even have a map and little circles on all these locations, and I can share it with you. I think I posted it a couple times before.
There we go, Elena, holding up her drawing of the bar that she's actually been in.
Holy shit!
You've seen
And
these robots at the bar?
oh man, I'm telling you, all these movies and all these like things that are coming out is a heck of a drip drop of what's happening real up there. And I think that's what's happening. They're trying to get people used to that scene. So when it does comes out, oh yeah, we saw that in Star Trek. We saw that in Star Wars,
Yeah.
you know. Just recently I was watching Star Trek, the new one, Strange New Worlds, and I'm really happy that they for the first time they clicked the button and everybody started floating in the ship and I was like heck yeah, that's what freaking happens. That's the shit that happens. That's what they need to show. So artificial
Uh,
freaking gravity, and I'm like you see, freaking drip drop. It's freaking insane. So you know, and it's not that we are special when we go through these missions, Donnie. It's not that we are, oh, you're amazing super soldier, so we're gonna follow you to the end. No, it's not that. You know, sometimes it's even sad that we go through these experiences. You know, it's sad that we have to go through this. You know, because I didn't want this for my life. You know, I did not want to go to the ark or go to the moon or go. I just wanted to live a normal life and be with regular people. But when you go through this experience, right, and it changes you how you see life, you want other people to know about that. And that's the reason for GSIC, you know? That's the reason because we want to show people and share our experience and share what we went through. Real soldiers, you know, people that have a DD-214 that I can show, they can look it up. When I show my face, I know that's going to be a shit show. A lot of people are going to do research on me and they're going to know where I have been and the locations I have been. I know people are going to do their research, you know, and I'm just telling you that it's not just me. I'm doing this for the people that have been going through this. Tony has been talking about his experience for the people that have been going through it. Elena has been going through her experience for the people that have been going through it. You have been going through the experience as well for the people that have been going through this, you know, and people are gonna realize that we are the real deal, you know, because it's confirmation on top of confirmation on top of confirmation with different people, and it's a web of connection. That's what I'm calling it, Charlotte's Web, because all these connections are coming together to one, and we're gonna just blast off this information in the United States. And I know a couple media people that are gonna be there that got in touch with me on Instagram. Oh, you're gonna be showing your face. I'm like, I'm not sure, but I announced it here because I think people need to feel, every face carries a frequency. I'm not saying my face is special. No, I'm not a special man. I'm not somebody that, I'm a regular person, I have a life, I have a family, and but the difference is that I have been going through these experience, and people need to realize that these things happen and these things are real.
Yeah.
They might look at us like nutcases, Danny, but people are realizing already. The governments are talking about it. What's in our oceans, what's in space, what's in Ceres colony, what is Jupiter, this crazy Atlas, whatever it is coming in our solar system. People are scared, making up stories. It could be a lot of different things. Now they're saying what? It's like 28 miles long instead of 7 miles long. And it's changing. And they're saying that there's two now, not just one. So it's becoming.
So you missed at the beginning, Elena was explaining to us the reality of the three-eye atlas. Of course, if anyone on the planet knows what it is, it's going to be Elena Danan. And it's like a pithalum energy. It's not her, but it's beautiful. So you'll see that at the beginning of this broadcast. Elena, you had your hand up, my love. What did you want to say?
No, I want to say, just add, I spent time in Japan with JP and his beautiful wife, and
Oh, that was amazing.
I thought it was amazing. And I got to have very interesting conversation with JP's wife. And she has testimonies. She's staying discreet for her safety and the safety of her children, but she has so many testimonies to bring. She told me things she's seeing when he comes back home from his missions, and is still in it. Is talking about it. He has bruises. Physically he has, when they do injections to him, he has the marks. He has everything physically, and I think you can't make it up. He can't make it up. His wife is there at home when he comes from these missions, and she can testify as well, the first-hand witness.
Yeah, we nearly brought her on stage in England. Do you remember we all sat and discussed whether we should bring her on stage? So again, there's testimony because a woman, a wife at home, worried you're going to work. She doesn't know where you're going, what planet you're going to, how many days you're going to be on. Like this is real time
She,
event.
she
Yeah,
saw spacecraft as well. She saw things, so she knows exactly.
yeah, can't wait. There'll hopefully be a time for this spicy, beautiful Brazilian goddess to shoot.
I think that time I was talking to Atlanta will come when that book comes out.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, it will happen.
Let me come to you because Ganymede and Jupiter, etc. You've given us a ton of information, so much in your books that you've written too. So you've told us that the planet X or the planet Nibiru is not inside this solar system. What people are calling Nibiru is actually Ea's spacecraft. Now, last you told us it was parked in the vicinity of Jupiter, and you physically go there. Can you tell us an update on where is this Nibiru craft and how long it takes you to get from Earth to the ship, and how is that done, and what does the craft look like?
Okay. Um, there is actually a planet named Nibiru, but it's in the Sirius B star system, and so it's a real planet there. It's very far from here. There is no planet named Nibiru in our star system or going around. Rogue planets cannot harbor life. Anyways, what we call the Nibiru is a spaceship that is round. It's about the size of the Earth, Moon, Luna, and it's a spherical ship that that came already 372,000 years ago for what they call the expedition Kashkal. It's now parked in the upper atmosphere of Jupiter, and so it's a sphere. What to say about it? It's powered by a plasmic consciousness that Ea directly fractaled from source. He's her creator. It's feminine, and she calls him father. I've seen it. It's a ball of blue plasma that is gigantic. It is at the core of the ship. So it's the navigation, the propulsion system. Another of these plasma beings. This one is very special. So how do I get there? I get there not with Earth military technology. I get there with ET technology. So it's different. The flight times are different. They are shorter. And propulsion systems are basically based on anti-gravity, but they are a level further. So to go from Earth to Jupiter, I'm conscious. I'm not put under sleep. It's you're gonna be jump off your seat, but it takes me about 10 minutes. I know it's mental, but that's how it is. I'm picked up by Anach shuttle. I have my own pilot. It's a lady. Her name is Shurani, and she's very, very tall, typical Anunnaki, as we call them, being. Very tall. She's very muscular. She's a soldier, and she has high cheekbones, bold, elongated head, slanted eyes. She's very funny. But she's been told not to talk too much to me because we're having such we've had some very nice woman chat, interspecies chat about women stuff, and she's been a bit told off, so it's pity, but she's become a friend. So she drops me there, and the Anaheim shuttles are different. Uh, it's a different technology. Oh, it use torsion fields, but same system, but it looks like little planes with wings that can retract, unfold, and retract. And like shuttles, like the Earth Atlantis shuttle or Discovery shuttle. It's kind of the same shape, but more elongated. They have also cylindrical shape that are bigger, way, way bigger. And I know JP saw one in the Rings of Saturn. I helped him do the graphics. So in these shuttles, it's very small, and there is no stabilizers. So you don't feel the speed because you're using torsion fields. So there's a mass cancellation of the vehicle, and inside there's a recreation of a gravitational field artificially that you're not floating around. But so you don't feel you're moving, but you feel the moves of the craft. There's no stabilizers, in a normal ET craft, or it moves. It has a system of balance. If the saucer does that, inside it stays straight, so you don't feel anything. Not in the NR shuttles. You're like on a roller coaster, basically. So my first ride was with Ia, and I was so sick. He understood that my Earth body wasn't fit for that. So now he gave orders, and now Shurani is very careful. We go flat. So, and she drops me there in the landing bay, and then the Nibiru ship is so vast. It's huge. It's like an Andromedan ship. Andromedan ships are a bit bigger sometimes. But yeah, and then there's floating platforms to go to away to different areas.
It's incredible. I know on my channel we've done a beautiful drop on the interior of the of Ia's or Enki, his craft, his ship, which is enormous with lakes and gardens and pools and again like Alex Collier described the 800-mile long Andromedan craft with like you said, Tony, about generational people living and being born in space in this way. It's something that it's time to open our minds to the reality, not just from watching television and movies, although that can help actually trigger memories. But so many of these things are soft disclosure. Tony, as we're bringing this craft talk to a close on this particular subject, I'd love you to share, like and Elena's explained and JP's explained, that the technology, it's not that difficult. It's really not that difficult to create everything and for anti-gravity propulsion. You worked on a spacecraft that was basically a tricked out submarine. Can you explain to us, like, elements of that? Why were you working on a submarine and where?
I did maintenance. First off, I want to say, JP, I'm so happy for you. I
Oh,
know that wearing that thing in front of a crowd is uncomfortable
it's
all the time. We
bullshit.
always talk about it. We always talk about it between us. And I'm so happy for you, man. My heart really, when you said that you're going to take it off, you made the decision. Like, I'm so happy. I know that it's going to be wonderful for you to do that and finally address the crowd and then not have to talk through a bunch of stuff. So I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it, Tony. I
Um,
love you, man.
Thanks, man. I love you too. Uh, yeah, no, the first ship that I got assigned to was in fact a submarine that had been converted into a spaceship. And I think about it, I didn't get to look out the window. I was working, it felt like an office. If you couldn't tell when we were moving, you could kind of feel when things were happening. You could hear when things were going on mechanically. And you could kind of feel, like you said, a static electricity. You might get something like that, like your hair stand up for a minute and go down. We had little things like that, but we really didn't know we were moving. And it was Groundhog Day. I came in like an umbilical, like when you walk to an airplane, when you board the airplane, that little hallway, like it's an umbilical. And I'd get off the train, wait in line with the guys. There was a security checkpoint, and I'd walk the umbilical and go in. And there was two other guys, and we just did maintenance. Where the computer told us what to do. We had a computer that told us what to do, and it was an old, antiquated thing. I was in a giant room, and I think because of the layout, I've went since then and looked at layouts of submarines, and I think it was two of them bolted together like a catamaran. That's because I remember going through like a hallway part to another space that made more sense. Like it felt like more of a floor space of two of them joined together. But ancient tech, I mean, this is stuff from the 40s and 50s that got converted to anti-grav. So that means that it's not something that uh we need super high technology to achieve. They did it back way back when. And in fact, I was on that ship till the end of it. Like it was decommissioned when it kept breaking down. It was so old. And so and later on promoted to a newer ship that we leased from an ET species. That's the one I was talking about earlier that could travel, that I knew about, could do things. But I don't know, Danny. It was very low tech. So it was Groundhog Day, and it was not an enjoyable job. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a crap job that I had, and I was in there. That was years. It was Groundhog Day for that one. When I got promoted to cargo engineer, I got to interact with the places we went and the crew, the command crew, and I had a lot more freedom given me. So that was a much more I don't want to dare to say enjoyable time for me when I got promoted. But when I was on that ship doing ship maintenance, I was just a grease monkey, basically.
Yeah, bless your heart. Well, your book series Colony Cavalier is mind-blowing, and you go into great detail, and also how you had a horrendous injury from saving lives on that craft with the steam. But not to give too much away, you all are just incredible. I love you so much. I'm so proud to be in this family with you. Every year you bring new information to a GISIC. We bring the spacecraft. The ETs are there in the audience. People fall in love every year. People find soul tribe. People find community. People find friends. We look after everybody. There's just nothing like it, but that's just my experience. Elena, can I ask you, why would people want to come to a GISIC? Why would you want them there? What would be the benefit to them?
Before I answer your question, your very important question, Danny, I want to just plug in that I just received a message from Chris's son, who is one of the organizers of the French conference, telling me that he just put out a video, which is a clip, excerpt of something that happened on stage to me. The two guys there were there, they know about it. At the end of my talk about ET technologies, this guy, who is a Russian scientist who worked with the secret space programs and works with Russian space corporation and companies and with cosmonauts and etc. He came on stage at the end of my talk and surprised me. And he said to me, he was totally baffled. He was like nearly shaking. He could barely talk. And he said that when he saw me, he said that I emit the same uh, aura and radiation and frequency than cosmonauts who have spent a lot of time in space. And he says he's never seen that with a human being that is not a cosmonaut. So Chris-san just put it out. I'm going to share it. So I just wanted to tell the news.
That's
That was a
Danny,
brilliant moment.
I can confirm that. I was there in that moment when we were in the group table. He looked across and he saw Lana. He was like in a crazy movement. And I'm like, what's going on? Does he sense something? And then I think Chris asked him, hey, do you feel something? He's like, yeah. And that's when that interaction happened. There, that moment when we were eating. And I remember seeing that happen, that that he was explaining that, and it was incredible. And that's what I'm talking about. Confirmation left to right, Donnie. And that's what people need to see and come and see in this conference in GSIC. Confirmation left to right of what's real and what's going on in the world that we live in and in our outer solar system. That's why they need to come to GSIC to understand the truth and the reality of what's really going on.
I love it. Thank you so much. Elena, before I come back to get you to answer, I will say to people that truly, when you are with Elena, when you are near her, you can't mistake this ethereal, graceful, gentle energy and a certain smell. I can't describe it, but you have your own unique, beautiful smell. It's almost like, I don't know, roasted nuts, like this really beautiful. It's so hard to describe, Lainey. It really is. But sometimes it's almost like, I mean, it's like when we met up at the museum, in the British History Museum, to look at the ancient Anunnaki tablets, the tablets of Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and the others that we were there. And I was looking, and thank God, I was like, thank God, no, I can't stand people around me. I just want to look at the artifacts by myself. And you and I had said we'd meet at some point during that day, and we didn't have a plan. And there we both went. I felt this. It felt like fairy energy, like just so light, like you almost aren't even there. And I look and it was you, of course, and we started crying and hugging, and we couldn't believe that we'd met. And then Ia sent us a message, and he was saying that he was so happy that you and I met at that particular moment, at that particular place. And we've got so many stories of, Ia and connections, and all of us here have, and it's just so beautiful. But yeah, your frequency is unmistakably very different, and I think some people look at you sometimes, they don't understand the energy because they've never experienced it. They have an idea, they think it must mean X, Y, and Z. They're extremely unkind, some people, but this is one of the reasons why. So, my love, why should people come and see you speak and others at GISIC?
Because it's meeting people's frequency, as you were explaining. It's having direct contact with people who have been to space or still going to space, and share with them all these energies, and share the physicality of being in the presence of each other. And that doesn't lie. And the love that passes between the people is something unique you cannot experience through YouTube videos, for instance. It's like listening to a CD of the Rolling Stones and actually going to a Rolling Stone concert. That's a difference, I would say. Uh, so come to Charlotte, not only because you will hear for the first time what really happened scientifically in the genetic procedures during the Genesis, how Adam and Eve were created, basically. Not only because JP is going to show his cutie face, but also but also because people like Tony Rodriguez, like Praveen Mohan, like Billy Carson, uh, Katie O'Brien are going to bring information that is going to be so groundbreaking that you when you hear an information and you're behind a screen, you go, okay, I take notes. But when you are actually in the same space of the person delivering the information, you receive the information in all levels.
Mm.
You have the feelings, you have visions, you tune in with the story of the person. You are there in their life with them, laughing, crying with them, and these moments, it's priceless. That's all I have to say.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Elena. Tony, give us your reasoning why anybody would want to come to a Galactic Spiritual Informers Conference.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited to go to this one. This is like one of my favorite things. I'll give you a couple reasons. Um, starting with the big one, searching for my own evidence to defend myself from people calling me crazy. I've uncovered technologies, a ton of them, and it keeps unraveling. And I'm just trying to put together the learning thing. And using the techniques from that, I'm unraveling from all the technologies that I was exposed to. And when I researched the Inyokern, the remote viewing stuff, which is a success, it really leads me down the path of what they've hidden from us of consciousness, the meaning of consciousness and the capabilities of conscious, not just humans, but everything, the whole, the makeup of it. Elena's presented on consciousness being as much as a third of the universe. Am I saying that, if I'm saying that right? And this G6 is going to have Kathy O'Brien there. So I'm excited because she went through similar things of consciousness that I went through. And since I went to Inyokern physically, that these bastards have been doing to me since. So I crossed the line, and all of a sudden, these programs have been attacking me in my personal life. I've had people put around me. I've had things done around me and set me up to do things. And it's educated me. And I've just turned it into lemonade. It's educated me into consciousness, what they've done. They program people. They have people out there, they have code words and they change, like on and on and on. And just putting it all together and studying, not being scared and just studying it. And so when we talk about Kathy O'Brien, who's a premier whistleblower of what she's been through and how it dovetails to what I went through when I was originally taken, and then what the program that has reared its head to mess with me since is exciting to me. So it's a learning opportunity. And what it all boils down to is that there's a lot about consciousness and human ability that's been hidden from us. And I'm excited to learn about it from everybody there and then flip around and present what I've learned. So and then the other point, I just want to make one more point. I've been to a lot of conferences. I did 10 last year. I did 12 the year before, and I've been doing them 2 or 3 a year for the last 8 years before that. And I've been to a lot of conferences, and a lot of them are great. But what I found is that many of them are ops. And they put people that are real, and they surround you with people that are giving false information to lead people astray. And a lot of the people, especially in America, are led astray by these fake conferences, these fake ops, this word salad after word salad of bullshit.
Yeah.
And GSIC is the one that doesn't do that. This is real deal, the real deal. Everybody is telling you the real stuff. Rather than just going up there and saying, uh, meditate and love and light, and that's it. And don't turn your back when they stick you in it. Uh, or all these word salads about portal, Anunnaki, activation, light code, Jedi stuff. Like this is all just word salad. It's all word salad with no meanings and no meaning. Yeah. And so many conferences are infiltrated with this, and it's hard for people to know the difference. And GSIC is a not infiltrated. And so that's the deal. That's why this conference is big and the best, and why we save our best information as speakers to go here. And why it's an honor to be part of it, Danny. I'm truly honored you've had me back. And so I love GSIC and what you do, and I'm so happy for it. And I just hope you keep going, keep pushing on until we get what we want, and that's access to the information freely.
That's right. Thank you so much. JP, I know you mentioned already some of the reasons why somebody should come. Did you want to add anything else?
I am honored to be part of GSIC. Yeah, just like what Tony said, it's amazing the the history of GSIC. That's what people need to understand. Like, if you don't know what GSIC is, look at the past G6 and understand the information that we brought to humanity, for this earth, for a beautiful change. And the lineup that you have this year is amazing, and it's going to be exciting interacting with all these speakers and interacting with the people that are going to come there and feel the vibration of what we're bringing, feeling the frequency of love. Uh, it's going to be an amazing ride. I think I told you, I left you a message that this is going to be the most powerful GSIC ever, and just be prepared because there might be retaliation, but we know that we are protected in every way that we are protected. No, nothing can go against us and what we bring to the public. We're protected by all the angels, by every beautiful frequency that there is, and this is going to happen. And GSIC is going to be a success for the world to see. I'm really happy to be part of this.
Ah, that's so beautiful. And it's such an honor to have all of you, as well as Billy Carson, Praveen Mohan from India, who talks of the incredible intelligence and the mechanics of the temples, the ancient temples that actually physically move, columns move, sound frequencies emit through them. There, again, disclosure on every level. Kathy O'Brien exposing the White House and the Pentagon, Max Lowe, and she's going to be exposing what's been happening through the trafficking at the Vatican. Sorry to the Catholics out there, you didn't think the Pope and those below were running chronic trafficking exercises. Well, it's been proven, and unfortunately, it is a reality. And we're bringing everything to this GSIC. Also, if you cannot be there physically, you can live stream. You can live stream. But if you physically have been waiting to come to an American GSIC in person, you better come this year because there won't be one next year. We are not planning a physical GSIC in America next year, 2026. We're planning it in England. So if you want to come to an American one, you want to see JP take his mask off, you want to see a ton more spacecraft, we're going to teach you how to bring it. Elena Danan is going to teach everyone how to bring and connect to their own star families. We're going to have a session where we invite you, the audience, to sit in circles with some of our speakers and share your testimonies. We are bringing the audience closer to us, and we want to be closer to you. Those of you that are here for full and great, rebellious and beautiful and honest disclosure, which is on time. Disclosure is on time. It's such a beautiful time. So like I said earlier, ignore the noise out there, guys. Don't let the psyop control you. Don't let the disinformation control you. Self-advocation, self-respect and self-love for you to grow, for you to be with brothers and sisters who are after the same information that you are. You want the proof, you want the evidence. This is the year to come. September 19th, 20th, and 21st in Charlotte, North Carolina. All you need is to go to galacticspiritualinformers.com. You get your tickets and you get emailed a link with discounted rooms in the newly refurbished Sheraton Tower that is attached to the conference area, and the conference area is called Le Meridian. It's going to be 3 days of pure, wonderful joy. And I urge you, come be with us. So, to my friends here, Elena Danan, Tony Rodriguez, and JP, I love you so much. I'm so proud of you, so proud to walk this journey with you, bring all of our evidence and experiences. And thank you so much for being here, the three of you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And to you guys out there, oh, God bless. So much love from my heart to yours. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and self-advocation and self-love. Keep on your journey, guys. Ignore the noise. Come be with us. We'll see you soon.